Hello everybody, it's Scott here from HeyUGuys. I hope you are well and welcome back to the channel. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe to our lovely YouTube channel and give this video a little like and also comment on what we're going to talk about in a minute, which is our latest review of the newest Judd Apatow film, which is released next week, called The King of Staten Island. I will, of course, preface by saying make sure you head over to HeyUGuys.com for all of your movie and TV news. We're still ticking over, even though the world is still going to pot. We're still going on with all of our goodness. So yeah, we're going to talk about The King of Staten Island, which is out next week. On today's episode, I am joined by the wonderful Mr. Stefan Pape.
Hello, you right?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Good. Apart from show us your dodgy finger.
Well, listen,
ET finger. Is it the middle finger? Oh, it's the middle finger.
No, it's my ring finger. But...
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a sign. Anyway, I would also joined by our reviews editor, the lovely Linda Marric. Linda, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. And my fingers are all fine.
Yeah, my fingers are all fine too. For now, my attempted fate. So yes, this is a review of The King of Staten Island. As I said, this is quite a high-profile release. This is another of Universal's releases. Universal really pushing the premium at-home watching of some of their new movies that would have had cinema releases. This one was due for cinema release around about this time, but they've taken a decision, obviously because of what's happening, to put it online following the High Note and Trolls World Tour going on to the premium service, £15-16. So it's available from I think it's next Friday it's out. But so this stars Pete Davidson, who some of you may know from Saturday Night Live. He's been in a few other films as well, but he's predominantly known for his work on Saturday Night Live and his stand-up routines and his string of high-profile girlfriends for you show busy people. And this is kind of a semi-autobiographical film based around his own life and his own experiences surrounding the death of his father, who was a firefighter and died in the Two Towers incident on September 11th, 2001. So it's kind of a semi-autobiographical film with input from a writer of Saturday Night Live and also Judd Apatow, who directs the movie. So Stefan, I come to you first. Are you a fan of Judd Apatow? Do you know much about Pete Davidson, and what did you think of his latest effort?
So I am a fan of his. I think he sort of with Funny People and This Is 40. I think he had a sort of Tarantino problem of not quite knowing when to end his movie. I think both films were 2.5 hours. I think This Is 40, and I saw the runtime for The King of Staten Island being 2 hours and a quarter, I think, and I thought, okay, I think we might have a film that starts off really well and does the kind of Judd Apatow thing of slowly dwindling out and me just anticipating the end. But I actually remained compelled by this the whole way through. I think that the pacing was stronger than lots of Apatow's more recent work, definitely. And as for Pete Davidson, I've got to be honest, apart from a few images on Instagram of him with his, like you said, famous celebrity girlfriend, I didn't actually know a lot of his work, and I was really impressed. And I didn't actually know anything about his real life and the fact that this is so sort of closely tied to his upbringing until after the movie. After the film, I researched him, or as well, because I think at the end there's a kind of tribute, isn't there, to his father. And I remember sort of thinking, oh my god, it kind of all made sense, because I remember thinking he put so much emotion into this role, but in a very quite subtle way, because the character, it being a kind of comedic endeavor, is quite overt at times. He's kind of gets quite a bit of a caricature at points, but there was this subtlety, I think, to some of his big emotional scenes, which I thought was brilliant. And for someone who's not a sort of particularly well-renowned actor, more of a kind of comedian, I was quite shocked at how much he connected to the role. So I've got to say, I wasn't surprised to learn that there was so much kind of himself in this story. But I straight after this film, I started watching his clips on YouTube. I've sort of really ignited a kind of need to see more of his work, and I think it's probably Judd Apatow's best for a little while. I think I've really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think for me, and I'll come to you in a second, Linda, this is up there with, say, Knocked Up. I think you're right. Some of his later films were he did, as you say, he didn't really know, they're a bit self-indulgent, weren't they? Because he had obviously got a bit confident. I do like Funny People. I think there's a lot of really good stuff in Funny People, but it is, a bit of a mammoth to get through when it doesn't perhaps need to be. But with this and with Knocked Up, it was when, and maybe even The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is obviously a very, very different film to this. It was him at his apex. It's him doing what he does great, which is comedy mixed with real emotions and a real story that he does so well. I mean, Linda, are you a fan of Judd Apatow? And
I am a massive, yeah.
Oh, good. Did you enjoy this one then?
I'm a massive fan of Judd Apatow. I like all of his stuff, and I know you said This Is 40 wasn't quite. It was probably too long. Didn't know how to end it. I loved this. I liked this. I mean, I wasn't completely sold by everything, because I think that some of the, because it is a collaborative work, and some of the writing wasn't very uniform. But at the same time, I think it was just so, it's a film that's full of heart, and that's the most important, really. And not all of the jokes land all the time, which is absolutely fine. And I think it's not meant, because with Apatow usually it's like gag after gag, gag after gag, and it's sort of, you know, it's sort of Seth Rogen stuff. You know, it's like one after the other, one after the other, and it's sometimes you need to sort of relax a bit and sort of enjoy. And I think there's more to this story than his usual stuff, and it has a lot more depth than his usual comedic stuff. And I was so impressed with Pete Davidson, who I am a fan of, and I've been following his career way before he became famous for dating more famous people. And in fact, when the whole Ariana Grande thing happened, I was like, what the hell is going on? What's he doing? You know? So I am a fan of his, and I am a fan of Saturday Night Live, and I think this is really well done. It's brilliantly acted, and he's just such a natural actor as well. Yeah, I really liked it. Really liked it.
Yeah, it almost felt like with Judd Apatow, particularly with this one, it's almost like he was freeing himself and resetting himself, because there's no, obviously with a lot of his movies, there's either Seth Rogen pops up, or, you know, Jonah Hill pops up, or Jason Segel, all those guys kind of pop up, or there's bits and bobs in there, you know, Paul Rudd will pop up or something like this. Whereas with this, apart from his daughter, it really feels like he's kind of freeing himself and trying something new, and almost not resetting himself, but trying to maybe get out of what people expect of him. For Stefan, I mean, the cast is around Pete Davidson is really good. You've got Marisa Tomei in there, you've got Maude Apatow, Bel Powley, who's always fantastic, and then there's a smattering of other people as well. I mean, the ensemble really works. It's really strong, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've got to say, I think some of the scenes with sort of lesser known actors as well, just when he's hanging around with his friends, the dialogue, I'd find myself just sat there, just kind of completely gripped by a scene where when the scene would end, if someone said what just happened, you go, oh, nothing really. They just sit around, just kind of shooting the breeze, chatting. And I think that it's a real testament, not just to the big names that you mentioned, but everyone in this cast just had a real sense, just had a real sense of authenticity. I think Linda was right in saying it wasn't all uniform. I think some of the dialogue seemed a bit more far-fetched and overtly comedic, and some was so grounded. I think there was a little bit of a tonal sort of, it's slightly inconsistent at times, but the acting was really strong. I've got to say, one of the things I most took out of this was how brilliant Maude Apatow is, his daughter. She was
brilliant.
Didn't have a huge amount to do. There's one scene with her and Pete Davidson in his bedroom just before she leaves for college. And I remember thinking, God, who's she? And I looked her up and thought, I knew I recognized her. I thought, oh, she's obviously, she's been in all of his movies, hasn't she? So I remember sort of realizing I recognized the face and thought, oh, that's his daughter grown up, and what an actress that she's become. I think if she's got a real future, I think, based on this show.
Yeah, I think she pops up in Ryan Murphy's Hollywood, which is on Netflix. She's got a part in that. She plays the wife of one of the guys who's trying to become an actor. So she's really good in that. But it's strange watching her, because obviously we've seen her when she was young and Knocked Out and all the other movies, and now obviously she's blossoming. And I think his other daughter now is doing more acting stuff. So it's a testament to their talent. For you, Linda, as well, I mean, how did you feel about the ensemble? Because it is, for me anyway, I thought it was really strong. And obviously we didn't mention Steve Buscemi, who is always fantastic.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Moises Arias, who is in Monos, you know, he's a Colombian American actor who is just amazing, always so natural, a brilliantly natural delivery. Like you said, Stefan, when they're all sitting together, like especially the group of friends, when they're all sitting together, I just felt like it was a group of people that I knew, and I didn't really mind whether they were overacting or anything. It was just like, as you say, sort of a group of stoners. Also worth mentioning, I know we said this is based in his own life. This is mostly based on what his life would have been like if he'd stayed in Staten Island and hadn't taken up a comedy. It's not entirely based on his life. I mean, he's been doing comedy since he was like 21, I think, and he has a lot more going for himself than his character Scott. So on top of that, also, let's not forget to mention Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr, who plays the new boyfriend of his mum, who's played by Marisa Tomei, who's also brilliant in this. Fantastic cast, fantastic story. Like I said before, I wasn't sold on every aspect of the story, but on the whole, I just think the film itself has oodles of heart, so it's impossible to dislike it. Genuinely, and I was really I was apprehensive when I saw that it was 2 hours and something. I was like, oh God, really? Can I really put up with Davidson for 2.5 hours? No, 2 hours and 17 minutes. But no, it works. It works.
Yeah, and it feels, as you say, it feels like, obviously we said it's sort of semi-autobiographical, but it feels like very much a love letter to his father and his experiences and everything else, but also acts kind of like a bit of as catharsis, in the sense that, you know, he's obviously still dealing with, you know, the pain of losing his father. And I think they deal with all of that stuff, even though it's not quite how it transpired. I think they deal with it fantastically well, but it's really funny as well. And I think this is, for me anyway, I think this is one of his, Judd Apatow's strongest
Absolutely.
films. And, you know, for people that might go into it thinking, oh, it's Judd Apatow, but without, you know, all the other stuff, the Seth Rogans and the, you know, the comedy and all that kind of stuff, it is there in spades. But I think him trying to do something slightly different, like he did with Funny People, I think
By
should
the
be
way,
celebrated.
I've never understood the snobbery towards Judd Apatow movies. I've always found them absolutely hilarious. I think people accuse him of doing too much of the stoner shtick, but that's what he's good at, and I think that's brilliant. Why? I mean, I never got why people look down on that, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm impressed by this. I'm more impressed than ever, really, to be honest.
Well, there we go then. A very good review. Stefan, what would be your final thoughts and final score for the film, shall we say?
Well, my final thoughts. I mean, firstly, it's just so funny. Sort of this film, it just felt like the sort of movie we'd all watch together on a kind of Monday night at View West End, isn't it? So it's quite strange watching a film this good at home. Not to say you don't get great video demand releases, but this just felt very cinematic. But it does work on the smaller screen, so I do urge people who do want to see it, or are Judd Apatow fans, or even if you aren't, to give this one a go and ignore the runtime. It goes quicker than you think. I would have given it 4 stars. I was a big fan of this one.
I think, Linda, you are nodding in agreement. Yes.
Yeah, 4 stars from me as well. Yeah, impressive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same for me as well. I think it is one of the most, and obviously it's been a very strange year in cinema, but it, you know, this is the film, like you say, if we'd have come out of a press screening or people coming out of a public screening, where you would just be talking about it for so long afterwards and about how good it was. And I think that experience, you know, we missed that experience, but as Stefan said, the fact that it translates into the small screen and we can all enjoy it, I think it's testament to how good the film is. This is one of my favorites of the year so far, and I would be surprised if it's not there at the end of the year. Obviously, we don't know how many films are going to be released before the end of the year, but this stands a very good chance. So we are giving a big Roger Ebert thumbs up for the King of Staten Island, which is released on video on demand premium platforms from June the 12th everywhere for you to rent and for you to enjoy in these crazy times. A nice bit of light-hearted comedy drama like this would go down a treat. Stefan and Linda, thank you so much as ever for joining us all together. As ever, if you like this video, make sure you give us a little like and a little thumbs up and subscribe, as Dave off camera has put just there for you to subscribe. And give us your comments on the film once you've seen it. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? What did you like? What didn't you like? And stick with HeyUGuys. There's more great stuff coming, and make sure you check out the website HeyUGuys.com. Until next time, we'll bid you adieu. Take care and goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey